for inviting me. It has been, I think it is the first Adobe TechCom day that we are having. So I've been invited to many of the first things, but this was a very pleasant experience altogether. Was also lucky enough to meet a lot of people. I also met a couple of my old friends out here, so it's always nice. How many of you here have been working in technical writing for the last 15 years? All right. How many for the last 10 years? All right. How many for the last 5 years? So all of you who raised their hands for the last 15 years, you have been using Adobe products since then? Okay. So I see Naveen, I see another gentleman, 2, 3. For the last 10 years? Great. And for the last 5 years or so? All right. And for the last 1 year? Okay, cool. I have not relatively to Adobe TechCom products, I have been using relatively for the last decade or so. Good part about it, because I started my career as a tech writer and then I ventured into a lot of stuff. I have also worked with companies that are competitors of Adobe. All right. So I have done business development management also. I've been a sales manager. I have did product sales for US market. I have done product sales for Middle East market, for South Asia market and all that. I have also got introduced to Adobe to 2019, and I think it's one of the best releases that I think I can say far and near that Adobe has made. So from that point of view, and Dr. Anu was correct, I have put up 2 or 3 slides, so I don't know if I should run, but since I've already made, so I'll just go through it. A little bit about me. So I have a company of my own. I turned entrepreneur 3 or 4 years back. Prior to that, I was working, as I said, I was a sales manager. And then I turned entrepreneur, so I have a small setup called Dura's Consultancy Services, where we take care, primarily we are a niche setup, where we take care of training solutions. Training in terms of preparing people, preparing resources for technical writers. A lot of you out here in companies that I have met are students of mine. I meet a lot of my students also, are quite a few. And so we do conduct corporate as well as training programs on technical communication. And yes, we teach Adobe TCS products. I'm a partner of Adobe for a long period of time. And also we have professional talent management and staffing. So we do B2B marketing, we do B2B staffing for a lot of companies. All right, so I just put up a little bit of this thing. So what, in terms of the software industry growth, we have been looking into, there are some data that I wanted to give, and then we come into. So last year, the reports were that the global IT has surpassed close to $4.5 trillion in 2017, and it is set to eclipse close to $4.8 trillion in 2018. I don't have the figure, how much in technical documentation, the revenue and the sort of effect, but it is immense actually. The US continues, I think, close to 31% in the market right now, in the technology market that I'm talking about, followed by Japan, China, Australia, and India. And there is a chance of China in 2021, I think in 2031, to lead the market. Emergence of innovative technologies that we're talking about, cloud, computing, mobility solution, every day we seem to know each and every term. There are emergence of a couple of job roles which are coming into the market at this moment of time. We are talking about machine learning scientists these days, we are talking about AI developers, industrial IoT engineers, blockchain developers, etc. And the general trend is that for every 100 developers you're talking about, you at least need to have 10% of technical communication, technical writers in the market for that. I also talk about the emergence of job roles because you have to also understand it from a perspective that as a technical writer, someone who comes to me with a master's in literature, or someone who comes with a BE or a BTech in computer science, it is very important to understand that a part of a technical communication job is to simplify the complex technologies that we are talking about. I meet day in and day out clients. I interact with students every weekend. I have a weekend batch. Today I was supposed to start a new fresh batch, but because of the event we start tomorrow. And here I get 10 students who are coming from various domains. But the crux of the thing remains the same. The objective for any technical communication resource or a writer is to simplify the complex material, the complex technology that I'm talking about. And so this, this technologies that I'm talking about as part of a technical writer, you have to understand that there is a lot of informations which are a lot of technical in nature. So a part of your responsibility is also to understand that yes, tools are very important, but the market does no longer requires or is not looking out for a person who has completed a certification in sort of a thing, does no active voice, passive voice, gets a job, does proofreading or copywriting on that. You take up a test in IBM or any other thing, they will give you a passage and they will probably ask you to read the passage and prepare the data concept or data task you're talking about. So as technology evolves, technical writer per se, will have to individual. So the objective for any technical writing course, in my opinion, would be that you have to facilitate the growth of learning and you will have to teach them how to write rather than getting a job. Because when I get calls from people making inquiries, someone says over the phone that, will I get a job after that? Will you do a job guarantee after that? How many interviews will I get a call or not? It's very important for you to understand that we are all sitting out here. There's a lot of industry trend technology coming into the market. And as technical writers, we need to study, we need to do a lot of stuff for that. Okay, so what are the top challenges that we are finding right now? Top challenges, and I'm talking about that is competing with other tech firms for talent. Now, as I said, I'm into staffing. So more and more probably, I have 3 or 4, at any moment of time, I'm working on at least 5 to 6 requirements. And some roles which may be like, for example, if I'm hiring a director of sales for a technology market, it takes a little bit of time. If I'm hiring an inside sales guy, it takes a little bit of time. If I'm hiring a niche skill like LiveFray or Kendo UI, it takes a little bit of time. There is always competition in the market. There's always competition in the market today for hiring people, resources, and all that. We get a lot of requirements for a specific, someone wants RoboHealth, 3 months contract or a 6 months contract, because they don't want, someone wants on data, this thing, more and more contractual jobs are happening. So there is a challenge. There is a challenge in the mindset. There is always a challenge that how do you compete with other firms in terms of that. Finding workers with the right soft skills. It's very important. Someone is industrious, someone is able, but is not able to communicate better. Someone is able to communicate, but is not able to represent the kind of technology. So finding the right workers finding workers with the right soft skill is very important. Finding workers with expertise in emerging tech fields. So as I said, I'm hiring cloud architect for an organization. It's very difficult because, or some sort of a thing, because the kind of package they would bring and the client does not have. So often it becomes a very, very difficult task as a sort of a competitor in today to find out the rising salary expectations. I think technical writers per se are one of the best paid jobs that we have at this moment of time. We technical writers are very fortunate enough to get a very good salary. And take it from me, someone with a software developer with MVC experience or .NET with 3 to 4 years of experience is getting 6 to 7 lakh. A technical writer similarly is earning close to 9 to 10 lakhs. So there is quite a bit of salary expectation rise in technical writing, and this trend will grow because I believe that. But yeah, you will always have people who will. So some of the other reasons, but the salary expectations for people are generally 30 to 40%. I have my resources, this thing, who comes to me, and then they make a trend, and then all of you know the story. They get an offer, then they go for another one, and by the time they leave, they've already got 100% hike. So this keeps on happening. Insufficient pool of talent in region and locale. Bangalore is probably a region where I never had a problem in getting talent for this thing. Just in terms of looking out specific skills and technical writing, there's no problem. But yeah, I have other challenges. For example, if I have to hire for Pune or Hyderabad, or for that matter in Chennai, I have challenge. Something in Noida will be probably another challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people also want to work in Bangalore. So yes, there is a lot of challenges for this. Small businesses embrace technology, but gaps remain. So we always talk about, you will always meet, or someone will quickly introduce it, we are working on cutting edge technology. We are doing the best of this thing and all that. We have introduced this thing. So it's all fine. But the question remains the same, is that, and I was just sitting with Naveen the other day, and I was asking him, and I said, I would like to see that we implement Adobe Experience Manager. How many of us are going to actually do that? Because I work with a lot of startups, and the first thing because I work as a consultant also, so a lot of startups ask me, okay Rajdeep, so this is it, what do you expect? What do you offer me? So the first question that I ask them is, what is your budget? And we Indians love numbers. So the first thing is that after everything is said, but we don't want to spend much on documentation. So for that matter, why don't you work on Google Sheets for that matter, Google Word for that matter? So my primary job in this thing is that I don't spend time where I'm not supposed to, where it's not going to give me an investment. So first of all, tell them MS Word. And then when they realize that MS Word, then they say, okay, fine, first you start writing documentation. As soon as you reach and your client is buying the document, then sell them the Adobe RoboHelp. RoboHelp tends to be one of the most popular, and I keep on telling, it is one of the most useful help authoring application, and everyone seems to like RoboHelp because user interface, everything is pretty easy to use in Adobe RoboHelp and all that sort of it. I did so many projects where I had to import legacy content from Word or any other thing to RoboHelp, set it up, and then just go and deliver it or give the source files to that. This Adobe RoboHelp and Adobe FrameMaker, like importing legacy content from Word to RoboHelp and importing unstructured content to structured FrameMaker, and the third would be prepare how to do videos in Adobe Captivate. These are the 3 top rated kind of project consultation work we receive. Every month I will get one sort of a thing. So that also means to see that it's nearly a decade right now where data and XML has been there in the market. People still are authoring in Word. People still are authoring in an unstructured workflow. And Adobe RoboHelp and FrameMaker and Captivate, by the way, tends to be their favorite. So let's talk about enabler. Like talk about Adobe TCS, how they enable document trends you're talking about. I used to work in Infosys, and in Infi we had I think it's still there, we had a communication design group. So what happened is that communication design group was a business enabler unit. It means that let's say Pfizer, we got a project, the retail section has got a project, or Finacle has got a project, and they would come to Infosys CDG and say, all right, we have pitched client that you will be developing a user guide and online help for them. So what happened was that a part of the profit was to come to the CDG. So CDG acted as a business enabler functional unit. So how, I'm just talking about things like how Adobe TCS functions, and whatever I do, I'll give you short anecdotes where clients have used Adobe TCS primarily because of that. Maybe because of the fact that I have been in the industry a lot many years now, maybe because of my experiences working in STC and various other forums that a lot of people actually talk to me, and both online and offline, asking me or recommending me about tools and this thing. I get consultation call where people ask me, Rajdeep, what would you suggest? What would you propose? What are the things and all that? So let's talk about something. Just the other day, I'm not taking the name of the company. There's a wiki-based authoring workflow. It's a MNC. It's an MNC startup in ITBL Whitefield. So it comes to me and it says that because they are my client, I have a set of pool of technical writers working for them. They come back to me and say, Rajdeep, we want to go the wiki way, and we are using RoboHelp. So tell us what you would suggest. So ideally, I asked them, have you tried out RoboHelp Server 10? Have you tried out RoboHelp Server? And she's like, no, I have not done. But one of my colleagues was suggesting that we go through Confluence. So it's a fact. I mean, if you go and you access the site docs.ca.com, you probably would see that CA were using Author8 for their entire content management system. I was in Author8, so I had done a lot of work in CA technologies. Then they shifted to Confluence Wiki.
So CA has so vast of documentation. I'm talking about CA Technologies Hyderabad. So their entire project, so you go up there, you just write about a product, you get release note from installation guide to admin guide, everything is right online and all that. There was a time when people used to say, why are documentation accessible to public? Anyone can copy and all that. But no, with all this social media and all that, Salesforce is a very good example where you can go on any media channel and tweak it. Someone said, here, take a look at the video, and people can like or dislike. So the lady happened to come to me and pitch in that she wants to do a wiki-based authoring workflow. And I try to understand why is it they're looking at. Now you have to also understand that it takes a little bit of time. But ideally what I do is that I ask 2 or 3 questions. What are your pains or what are your concerns? Why are you thinking about moving to one particular solution? So if you identify the pain points, then you can give a solution for that particular. And if you think that she has expectation, the second thing is, what is her budget? And third thing is, do you think or does your team have the enough support to do this thing? Now, I found that they did not have answers to much of a thing, but all they wanted was to show to their management that this was possible to put it up out there and have a wiki-based workflow. Now, the first thing you have to make them understand that Adobe TCS can deliver. So either you go by Robotel or whether you go by Adobe Experience Manager, but also you have to understand from the same point of time is that you also wanted to show them that it is possible, and at the same point of time, how 6 or 7 tech writers are there, how each one of them are going to, what is the productivity level it will increase. So most of the time, we get requirements or solution people are talking about going the wiki-based authoring workflow. So I was very interested, and I think I asked one of the person, I think she was in HP, and I had said, why do you think people are actually talking about a wiki-based workflow? And they said, Raj, it's because everyone is on social network this days. Everyone, they want to have a look and feel which is more like a Facebook kind of a thing. You go, you post it, you insert an email, boom, submit and post it, and you can read it. So they're like thinking about a dynamic kind of assistant help and all that sort of a thing. So they are practically looking like this thing. But at the same point of a time, I also believe that people will be doing internal documentation, such as creating PDFs, online help. They will be continually be doing that. So first and foremost is wiki-based authoring workflow. That's some of the things. It is TCS acts as a very enabler. Training through mobile phone or iPad. So see, I am a trainer, right? And I have done corporate presentations. So I've done it for UAE market, and I've done it for US market, and I've done it for Bangalore region and Pune region. The thing is that I also get requirement where people say, Rajdeep, is it possible for you to deliver it through mobile phone? Take it from me, I don't feel very comfortable. I feel comfortable when you have face-to-face kind of an interaction. But then there are a lot of people who insist on delivering this thing. Again, Adobe comes into front. So for people who have created using RoboHelp, things like responsive HTML5, you will be able to amazed to see the kind of screen layout and all that they create. So that's another thing which they get wow. So what I have done is, on my presentation which I created using PPT, I got it as flash files in Captivate. You can do that. You have to just import the PPTX file or PPT files in Adobe Captivate, and then you have to do a little bit of tweaking here and then insert an audio if it feels. You can have a fake American accent, no need that thing. We all have that. Anyway, so you have that accent deputies and then deliver it through your mobile phone. So that's another. Big data predictive analytics. So Amitosh was showing in RoboHelp how this analytics, data-driven data, it is basically very, very prudent. Everyone wants to have, data or analytics. I remember years back, I had worked on a project for a Hyderabad client where they wanted to show or wanted to see the customer support team was getting a lot of calls day in and day out. And what was happening is that their management wanted to somehow reduce the number of support calls. So they said documentation is there, but still customer support team is getting calls. Why are we actually looking into that? So then we understood that if we can build up a knowledge base, document and all that, it will tell us that how many, what was the last page you visited, how many times in a month, what you are logging in. And then more and more probably what we also did was, which you can do is that using Adobe Captivate, I suggested that, all right, fine. So what you do is that, let's go use Captivate and publish it directly on YouTube if you have a channel. and we did that also, and it works also. So a lot of data analytics are very, very important, and then you create small social connection, which in terms. So Adobe Captivate is a very, very good tool, and if you use RoboHelp server, it also gives you a lot of big data information and all that. SaaS-based translation management system. So for those of you, any linguist or translator who are out there in this market right now, everybody is trying to actually sell a solution today through a SaaS model, and it is easy. It is far more from a pricing point of view. It's also very interesting. So when you talk about a translation management system and you want to sell it in the market at that point of a time, then you are thinking more from this thing and that. So I get a requirement that a translator would approach in this thing. So we want to actually do it, translate. We want to write content in English in using RoboHelp or a FrameMaker or something, and then we want to translate the content in this thing. Is it possible? So that's another thing. Artificial intelligence and chatbots. Now this are so for those of you, again, I'll go back to CA because they have recently, a friend of mine, Ravi Kumar, has worked on that. And there's a lot of work happening on chatbots. So people are looking into how you can deliver the information through that medium. A day will come. So the entire source content is written in RoboHelp. You publish it to small HTML help and all that. And then there is a person sitting across who takes up the content, makes chunks of content and delivers it through a medium of chatbots, and they create chatbot. Cloud clients. Again, the delivery of the medium that we're talking about. You're talking about authored review, Adobe Reviewer for that matter. You want to translate content, you want to author content, you want to edit content. All these things that you want to do, you can have a small module kind of a thing. But let us take an example of a client who wants to actually, preferably they don't want to download an application or install an application. They want to do it live or using an internet access. All those things are also possible using cloud tech. And then, talk about a SaaS management, blockchain, more how-to videos. SaaS management, again, there are a lot of products in the market, and there are a lot of modules available in the market where people are discussing. As a technical writer, we had this thing that where your tech writers are working on this certain aspect of the module, and then there is another feature where we have to send it out for our developers to actually review the content, but the developer does not have a FrameMaker or RoboHelp. So how is it possible for them to do the review? So Adobe PDF, for example, for those of you who have got the Adobe Acrobat installed in your system, it can be helpful. There's a lot good stuff, and then there's a lot of how-to videos that we prepare using Adobe Captivate. How-to videos are small 3-minute video, 3-minute to 5-minute videos that we do. We get training videos where we have to prepare. So those are prepared in-house. Sometimes we have to go to the client and all that sort of a thing and discuss. So a lot of things at Captivate is pretty much. So and finally, why I think Adobe TCS works and what is this thing. So you see, the reason I'm not saying this because I'm standing today and it's an Adobe event for that. I think a lot of you who go and become a product manager or you take a business decision, a lot of documentation managers are also sitting out here. There's a maintenance cost and ongoing fee. You have to actually take care of that. 2019, a lot of people are still using FM11 or FM15, sort of a thing and all that. There's a lot of maintenance cost when you talk about picking up XYZ product. So with Adobe TCS, and you can actually save it. If I'm using 2019, I can save it in 2017 also and work on it. So the maintenance cost in other product is far much higher than what Adobe TCS. This is based on my experience. Require upgrades, built-in obsolescence, that's another thing. Staff time needed to operate and maintain. I think it's nil. Very honestly speaking, I don't know. I have sold it. I have spoken to the clients who basically tell me that they never really have to. Yeah, they can get in touch with the support team for queries and all, but not much time is required for them to know how to operate or how to maintain. Upfront cost too expensive for what you get. So you see, the thing is that we get queries because I'm also one of the resellers for Adobe. We get queries where someone say, okay, Rajdeep, I want to buy 3 user licenses of RoboHelp or 2 user licenses of FrameMaker. My entire idea, purpose and objective is after discussing with them, can I sell them Adobe TCS? because it saves a lot of money. So you got to think upfront cost is because sometimes the client are not aware of what they can achieve. A client who comes to you and say, I want to purchase RoboHelp. Obviously they have HTML help front end. So you will have to understand and convince them why it is better for them to go for TCS rather than, and you have to support. As a sales guy, I always believe that it's not just sale. You have to be with that particular person and see that entire implementation phase, or something you have to be through it, and you have to make repeated calls to them to see they are this thing. So the upfront cost in TCS product is also very less. Complexity, poor user experience. I keep on saying, and I have posted a blog also on Adobe RoboHelp product. The only product that actually I feel a little bit difficulty, and as a trainer also, was a little bit on Adobe FrameMaker. But I think the kind of product UI and the kind of 2019 when we looked into the kind of this thing, all the customers and clients who have come back to me, they have said that the kind of experience that we have got on Adobe TCS product is good. And then let's not talk about the world-class support that they provide. I probably know the Adobe marketing team pretty well, actually, because I've been meeting them in all the conferences and all that. If you open the RoboHelp and FrameMaker or Captivate welcome screen, you will see the numerous number of resources which are available for you to get in touch with them. No other product, and I'm saying this upfront because I probably have tried and tested most of the tools available in the market. No other product allows you the kind. You can access them through phone call, through chat support, through user guides and online helper there, through blogs there are there, through the YouTube channel there is there, through the marketing videos are there, plus in every conference Adobe actually becomes a premium sponsor. And trust me, as a former conference sponsorship manager for a lot of things, the first thing we used to do is that we used to actually approach Adobe, this thing and all that stuff. So all these things and much more, I have been using Adobe for relatively for a long period of time. I don't think it was a sales pitch or it was a partner pitch. It was basically a pitch from a guy who started his career as a technical writer, used MS Word, migrated to Adobe RoboHelp, FrameMaker, Captivate, went to a competitor, sold CCMS product, came back again, started this company and teaches Adobe TCS products. Trust me, if you actually invest in Adobe TCS, you will be getting a high dividends plus a very good night's sleep. Thank you so much for inviting me.